What is up, guys? This is SamsoTech. My name is Samso, and this is my first ever build. It's not really my first ever build. It's my first ever build put on YouTube. So, this build is the budget-minded build. It's gonna get you plenty of gaming. It's gonna get you whatever you need to get your gaming on for as little as possible. This is a no-compromise budget build. This is basically gonna run most recent games without much of a hitch. So with the CPU, we'll be going with the Intel Pentium G3258 3.2 GHz dual core. This processor is just so powerful. Since it's unlocked, you can just overclock it as much as you want, and it's not gonna bottleneck most graphics cards. You may be worried about the dual core. Don't. It's by Intel. It's gonna run perfectly well. The dual core build is going to be perfect. Unless you're going to go for heavy video editing, then I recommend you go with something different, but I'll make a specific video about that later. This build is primarily about gaming, as I said before, so let's keep that in mind. With the CPU cooler, we'll be going with the Cooler Master Hyper 212 Evo. That's going to be perfect. The CPU cooler is going to keep it really low temperature. You can overclock it as much as you want. So the Pentium can go up to around a Haswell i3, maybe almost to i5 if you overclock it that much. I've seen it go up to 7 GHz, which somebody has actually done before, so that's pretty hardcore overclocking. Basically, we'll be going with the motherboard. The motherboard we'll be going with is the MSI Z97. I chose specifically the Z97 because it's the most recent Intel type motherboard. It's LGA 1150, so it's going to be perfect. Basically, it gets all your job done. So there's four DIMM slots. So we'll be going with 2 sticks of 4 gig Crucial Ballistic Sport RAM, which is going to be perfect. I'm just going to say that right now, because 8 gigs is going to be perfect for whatever gaming needs you need right now. Unless you're going for super ultra like multitasking, like you're running Battlefield 4 in the background and you're doing all that crap in the background, then you would go beyond 8 gigs. But 8 gigs is ample for everything you need to do right now. With the storage, we'll be going with the Western Digital Caviar Blue 1TB, 7,200 RPM. Nothing I could say much about there. It's a perfect little hard drive. 1 terabyte of space is perfect. You can have basically all your stuff on it. There's no problem at all. So with that in mind, we'll be going into the GPU. So I was torn between the 750 Ti by EVGA, that sips power. It's perfect, but I decided to go with the R9 270X instead. It's MSI edition. That's twin Frozer. I honestly chose this over the EVGA edition mainly because of its double fan architecture, which runs silently, which I know the 750 Ti also runs very silently. I have one, but I think the R9 270X is going to be a bit more powerful, and I honestly think it's perfect for this build. It'll get most of your games on Ultra, so there's like no worry about that. So I decided to go with the R9 270X. It's a little better than the 750 Ti, I'll admit that. They're both at the around same price range of $150, but prices are subject to change, so I can't guarantee anything. With the case, we'll be going with the BitPhoenix Merc Alpha Black ATX Mid Tower. It runs about $45. There's nothing much to say. It's just the standard little case that just gets your job done. So you'll like it. With the power supply, so the power supply is probably one of the most important parts in your build. You're going to want to make sure your power supply has all the certification it needs, which is why I decided to choose the Thermaltake TR600. With the 600 watts, you should be able to keep the power supply for later use in case you ever want to upgrade the CPU, maybe the graphics card. The 600 watts, you don't have, when you plan to upgrade later on, you don't have to switch anything out. You just keep that power supply, keep the case. You can put in maybe a better graphics card in the future. So the 600 watt is going to be perfect. So basically, now down to the operating system. So most builds these days I see on YouTube, they don't include OS, which I think is wrong. It leads to the wrong idea that builds are actually really cheap. But if you keep that in mind, uh, Windows 8.1 runs you about $95, which I think that's a fair price. I think you should purchase Windows, but if you're not going with the Windows 8.1, you can always go the Windows 7 way, Home Professional. The Home Professional only supports up to 16 gigabytes of RAM, so that's the only issue with Windows 7 Home Edition. If you want to go professional, then you can go pretty much unlimited amount of RAM. So you can go either way, but I would recommend Windows 8.1 simply because it's a little better optimized. Yeah, you'll have no trouble with the 8.1. There's been news about the Windows 7 that it's getting discontinued for support within the next few months, so that's the only issue with Windows 7 right now. Personally, I would rather have Windows 7, but Windows 8's the better choice here, so that's what I recommend. So that's going to run you about $95. So now I'm going to run down the pricing for all the parts I just listed. The CPU, it's going to run you around $70, which is a Intel Pentium G3258 3.2 GHz dual core. As I said before, it's really good. Cooler Master Hyper 212 Evo. It's perfect little CPU cooler. There's nothing much to say. It's perfect. I don't like the stock one, so I'm just gonna say you should install this one instead. That's about $25. The motherboard, MSI Z97. Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, it's gonna run you around $70. Keep in mind that prices are going to change. We have 2 sticks of 4 gig RAM by Crucial, Ballistic Sport, $75. Prices are subject to change. It might get cheaper, more expensive. I never know. But this build is going to be perfect for gaming for now. Okay. Video card, you'll be going with MSI Radeon R9 270X, 2 gigabyte. It's going to run you around $150. I'll have all the pricing and links in the description below. Just take a look. The power supply, Thermaltake 600 watt. There's nothing much to say. It's perfect. As I said before, it's going to be perfect in most builds. So there you go. The operating system, Windows 8 or 7. I'll have the link. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I'll try to make some more builds later. And thanks, guys. Remember to like and subscribe, and leave a comment below as to basically say what I'm doing wrong or stuff like that. So thanks, guys.